Donald Trump's running mate, JD Vance, seems to continue to throw Donald Trump under the bus each and every interview or press conference that he gives. Kind of first and foremost, JD Vance gives these speeches in front of these really small crowds and shows that there's zero energy behind him. And there's nothing more that Donald Trump hates than actually seeing zero people attend events. I mean, these events are putrid in size. So that's number one. Number two, I could go on and on about JD Vance's childless cat lady comments, JD Vance attacking postmenopausal women. I could give you all of that, but we've done videos on that before. I just want to show you some of the statements JD Vance has made recently. The first thing, though, I want to show you, though, and I think this is telling and doesn't get enough attention, right? When you pick a running mate, you are picking a person who you think could assume the presidency of the United States of America, the most important job perhaps in the world. And so when Donald Trump was asked about JD Vance and will he be ready on day one, anyone seeking the presidency who picks their VP running mate should say yes. This individual will be ready on day one. It is a very simple answer. But when Donald Trump is asked, is JD Vance ready on day one? Donald Trump says, no one really cares about the VP. Donald Trump said this at the National Association of Black Journalists event. He said a lot at that event that was unhinged and deranged, but I want to show you this one because this deserves attention before I show you JD then volleying back and throwing Trump under the bus. Play this clip.
When you look at JD Vance, is he ready on day one?
Does he what?
Ready on day one, if he has to be.
I've always had great respect for him, and for the other candidates too. But I will say this, and I think this is well documented. Historically, the vice president, in terms of the election, does not have any impact. I mean, virtually no impact.
All right, so now let's get into some of these statements that were made by JD Vance very recently. So here, JD Vance goes on CNN. Jake Tapper just basically lets JD Vance say whatever the heck JD Vance wants to say. Listen to what JD Vance says, though, when he's given, like, the softball and carte blanche to say anything. Play this clip.
And he has voted for. I just don't understand a person in American politics in 2024 who's whining about what happened to them instead of using their leadership and using their influence to make the lives of American citizens better.
Seriously, JD Vance is saying, I don't understand a person in American politics in 2024 who is whining about what happened to them instead of using their leadership and influence to make the lives of American citizens better. He's talking about Donald Trump, but he's actually using projection and saying what, Vice President Kamala Harris or Governor Walz? There's no one whinier than Donald Trump. I mean, it's the guy who does this. Play the clip.
Did you see Barack Hussein Obama last night? Take little shots. He was taking shots at your president. And so was Michelle. You know, they always say, sure, please stick to policy, don't get personal. And yet they're getting personal all night long, these people. Do I still have to stick to policy?
Quite literally, all Donald Trump does is whine and whine. And then he whines about people calling him out for whining. Like you saw in that clip, he was whining over what former President Barack Obama called him. Just here's what former President Barack Obama had to say. Play the clip.
The people who will decide this election are asking a very simple question. Who will fight for me? Who's thinking about my future, about my children's future, about our future together? One thing is for certain, Donald Trump is not losing sleep over that question. Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. It has been a constant stream of gripes and grievances that's actually been getting worse now that he's afraid of losing to Kamala. There's the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes. It just goes on and on.
Yeah, like JD Vance is a never Trump guy. He hates Donald Trump. This is a whole one of his other personalities now. He's claiming to be a Trumper. Take a look at this next clip right here. I'm giving you all stuff that JD Vance said very recently because you see that this is happening at the DNC when JD Vance is throwing Trump under the bus. So here, JD Vance, Donald Trump can point to 4 years of successful leadership and say, I delivered rising prices. Play this clip.
Again, it just highlights the extraordinary contrast. Donald Trump can point to 4 years of successful leadership and say, I delivered rising prices.
As our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, says, I know he's always hated Trump, but I don't think he's supposed to be talking about Donald Trump raising prices on things, which is true, but that's what JD Vance is saying. So then JD Vance goes to Asheboro, North Carolina. Again, small crowd. And JD Vance says the following.
We do not need a president with terrible judgment. We need Donald J. Trump back in the White House.
Seriously, JD Vance said, we do not need a president with terrible judgment. You mean like when Donald Trump said that, like a miracle, COVID was all going to go away like this?
It's going to disappear. One day it's like a miracle. It will disappear.
You can't make this stuff up. So then JD Vance says, my message to the leader of labor unions and others in the labor movement is who is going to actually help the American workers, Donald Trump or labor unions? Here, play this clip.
Look, I think that my message to Sean Fain and any other leader of the labor movement would be, who is the campaign? Which campaign is actually going to protect the jobs of American workers, union and non-union alike? It's the campaign of Donald J. Trump. So sign up, get involved, and support the candidate that's actually going to protect your jobs. Now,
again, he's like giving a roadmap to make ads against Donald Trump. Like you can take his clips, any of them, start your ad with that or your short with that, and then layer in all of the actual facts. He could be the narrator for ads or shorts. Now he goes over here. He says the following. He goes, giving Kamala Harris control over inflation policy is like giving Epstein control over human trafficking policy. Play this clip.
Giving Kamala Harris control over inflation policy, Shannon, it's like giving Jeffrey Epstein control over human trafficking policy. The American people are much smarter than that. They don't buy the idea that Kamala Harris represents a fresh start. She is more of the same. It is doubling down on the failed policies of the Harris administration to give Kamala Harris a promotion rather than to fire her, which is what I think most Americans are going to do on November.
How does that?
All right, are you ready for this fact? Traditional bed sheets can harbor more bacteria than a toilet seat. It can lead to acne, allergies, and stuffy noses. It's just gross. Miracle Made, however, offers a whole line of self-cleaning antibacterial bedding, such as sheets, pillowcases, and comforters that prevent up to 99.7% of bacteria growth and require up to 3 times less laundry. It's why I use Miracle Made on my bedding. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, no matter the weather, so you get a better sleep every single night. It's why I love Miracle Sheets. Miracle Sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. So go to trymiracle.com/Meidas. Trymiracle.com/Meidas and try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save up to 40%. And if you use our promo code Meidas at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Meidas and use the the code Meidas to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Meidas to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. So he mentions Epstein. It's like when you're giving an interview, JD Vance, Donald Trump, who was close friends with Epstein, who said Epstein's a great guy, who partied with Epstein. You're flying around in the Epstein jet right now. You've wrapped the old Epstein trafficking jet in Trump 2024 logos. Like, don't mention Epstein, but yet they continue to do so. It's like, what are you going to do next? Mention couches in your speech? Play the clip.
Now, I would call her up here to come and speak, but then I think I'd have to sleep on the couch tonight, so I'll leave her alone. But
yeah, you're going to mention couches. Wow. So then JD Vance doubled down on Donald Trump's statement that the Medal of Freedom given to Trump donors is a better medal than the Medal of Honor. Play the clip.
this is a guy who loves our veterans and who honors our veterans. I don't think him complimenting and saying a nice word about a person who received the Presidential Medal of Freedom is in any way denigrating those who received military honors. They're two different awards, and I think the president was saying some nice things about a person that he liked, and that's a totally reasonable thing to do.
Okay. Then JD Vance goes and says he's so anti-immigration. He's against the immigration of Germans and Italians. And then JD Vance clearly has never seen, ever, the movie The Gangs of New York. He cites Gangs of New York and obviously doesn't know who Bill the Butcher was. Or maybe he does. Maybe he's sympathetic to him. Play the clip.
Okay. Sir.
Senator Vance, Chris Cameron at the New York Times, you were talking about the relationship between crime and immigration, and my question is on that issue.
Please.
In an interview when you were running for Senate in September 2021, you were speaking with Jack Murphy, and you were talking about previous waves of immigration to the United States. You said the following: you had this massive wave of primarily Italian, Irish, and German immigration, and that had its problems and that had its consequences. You pointed to these problems as being higher crime rates, ethnic enclaves, and inter-ethnic conflict. Should the United States have prescribed similar policies to what you're proposing now, including mass deportation, to deal with those issues?
Well, first of all, I also said there were a lot of benefits to that wave of immigration. But has anybody ever seen the movie Gangs of New York? That's what I'm talking about. We know that when you have these massive ethnic enclaves forming in our country, it can sometimes lead to higher crime rates.
So then JD Vance he goes on Fox, and they're giving him softballs. And what JD Vance then says is that suburban women don't care about reproductive rights. They are focused on normal things. So that if a suburban woman's focused on their freedoms and bodily autonomy, according to JD Vance, that's not normal. Play the clip.
What do you say to suburban women out there who are marinating in this propaganda?
Well, first of all, I don't buy that, Laura. I think most suburban women care about the normal things that most Americans care about, right? They care about inflation. They care about the price of groceries. They care about public safety in the streets where their kids play. Look, as Donald Trump has said, he wants the American people at the state level to decide abortion policy.
Then JD Vance says that he gets asked the easiest softball question: what makes you smile? Quite literally, the answer could be anything. He answers that question wrong. Play the clip.
A little bit different here. You've been criticized as being a little too serious, maybe angry sometimes. What makes you smile? What makes you happy?
Well, I smile at a lot of things, including bogus questions from the media, man. I mean, look, I think if you watch a full speech that I give, I actually am having a good time out here and I'm enjoying this. But look, sometimes you got to take the good with the bad. And right now I am angry.
And then JD Vance tries to explain why he thinks Trump has a great sense of humor. And he says, because Trump makes fun of people. Play this clip.
And so, look, I think my message to the American people is very simple on this, that President Trump in particular has the best sense of humor of anybody I've ever seen in American politics. He loves to joke. He loves to tell, he loves to make fun of everybody that's out there.
Go back to what I said, though, at the outset of this video, which is any person running for president, when asked about is their VP ready to serve as the leader of the free world, as the president of the United States, the answer is yes. And Donald Trump doesn't say yes. Donald Trump says no one really cares about the VP anyway. By the way, JD Vance was asked about that, and JD Vance was like, I agree with Trump. No one really cares about the VP. That's your answer, that no one cares about you? What? Play the clip.
In Detroit Free Press.
Thank you.
When Trump was at the NABJ conference, he was asked whether you'd be ready to assume the presidency on day one, and he responded by talking about how the vice president pick doesn't really impact the election outcome.
Sure.
Was that the response that you were hoping for from the former president?
Well, what the president has said, and I agree with him, is that most people are voting at the top of the ticket. Now, Tim.
But that's precisely why Trump picked him. Trump is unprecedentedly the worst decision maker, right? He picked the person who can't even order donuts to be his VP pick. So let me just compare, as I conclude this video, Governor Walz entering a store and being his authentic self versus JD Vance, who can't even order a freaking donut. Play the clip.
We really came just to go to Runza, and then we did a little rally on the side when we had a little extra time.
Amazing.
If you don't know, the iconic Nebraska restaurant is the Runza. Don't call it anything else except a Runza. The bread consistency, all of it really matters. I got the Swiss and mushroom is kind of a classic. The cheese is solid. You can be a little bit creative, but this is it. If you're going to go to Nebraska, if you're going to go to a Nebraska football game, if you're just going to be a good person, you stop at Runza. I think it's the bread consistency. I mean,
your homemade every day?
get this guy on TV for Runza. Thanks for the work you're doing. Matters.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. Pleasure to meet you all. Wow.
The zoo has come to town. Thank you for letting us come in here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. Okay, yeah. She doesn't want to be on film, guys, so just cut her out of anything. Appreciate that, man. I'm JD Vance. I'm running for vice president. Good to see you.
Okay.
How long are you working?
I've been here since the beginning of July
Okay.
for this year.
Okay, good. How about you, sir?
Almost 2 years.
Okay, good. Just everything, yeah. I mean, a lot of glazed here, some sprinkle stuff, some of these cinnamon rolls, just whatever makes sense. How long has this place been around?
About 4 years.
About 4 years? Okay. How long have you been here?
A little over 6 months.
Okay, good.
So tell me what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million subscribers together. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.
Real quick, Meta just changed their algorithm to suppress political content. Please follow our Instagram at MeidasTouch right now as we head towards 400,000 followers so you don't miss a beat.